Another hot, humid, heat advisory type day in the Deep South. 10 days away from kickoff of the college football season. We are monitoring comments from Alex Golesh as they wrapped up scrimmage number 2. We can tell you that Golesh says he left really impressed with some individual performances today. The first name he mentioned was nose tackle Dallas Walker IV. Auburn 247 is reporting he had a pick 6 today. How about that?
Against who?
Don't know that, but he had a pick 6, according to Auburn 247. Golesh says today's scrimmage saw improved tackling, so much better, according to Golesh. He lamented, if you remember back after the first scrimmage, how sloppy they were, didn't have a lot of good tackling, things of that nature. Golesh also announced that third-team edge rusher J.J. Falk had collarbone surgery, and he is expected to miss at least the regular season. So you said he was running 3s, right?
Yeah, he is currently listed behind Jared Smith, who we've heard a lot about, Spain Park and Thompson product. Chris Murray, who got the extra year, remember? Got the waiver at the end of his eligibility to come back. He's running second team. You got J.J. Falk, who was running third team, and then behind him, you got the Wilkes kid out of Wadley, the true freshman. So if just looking at Auburn's defensive line, up front, it seems like they're deeper. I'm not saying overall more talented, but they are deeper, I think, with more quality depth than maybe they've had the last few seasons.
Alex Golesh also commented about wide receiver Keyshawn Singleton. This is a direct quote now. He says, when his off-the-field process is right, he can be as special as anyone in the country, end of quote.
Yeah, and he's a guy who knows Keyshawn Singleton. I think Alex Golesh, and coaching him and seeing the kind of numbers and what kind of player he is, first of all, he's just physically imposing. He's a bad matchup, whatever level of football you're playing. But I think he sees the potential with this guy, and maybe a lot of things come very, very easy for Keyshawn Singleton. But Alex Golesh may be opening his eyes to think how good you could be if you did all the little things that we're asking you to do.
So we will continue to monitor the comments of Alex Golesh. And outside of that one injury, he has yet to say anything that would give a warning sign that there was anybody dinged up or worried about after today's scrimmage.
You know, going back to quarterback, and it could have happened. It could have been third string, fourth string, who knows, scout team. But if you have a defensive lineman who's intercepting it, first thing I think about was it Byron Brown? Was it a deflected pass at the line? Was that was that arm angle? Is that potentially going to be a problem? Not saying it is. These are just question marks that talking with coaches and people that I respect, not saying that Byron Brown is not going to be good. It's the question marks they want to see answered as far as him being consistently playing near an elite level in the SEC.
Very much so. So we'll continue to bring you any comments and hopefully maybe some audio later on in the program. Bama, meanwhile, they get ready for scrimmage number 2 tomorrow. A lot of questions, especially the running back room. Had questions to begin with, not because of the talent, but now because of A.K. Deer's injury. I was told last night that it was multiple places in his lower leg extremities that he had issues with. I was told that this potentially could be a multiple-month process before he gets back. You remember originally everyone thought that this was going to be maybe a situation – 6 weeks, something like that. I was told last night that you might be looking at least 2.5 months before A.K. Deer is available for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
That's tough, but that's just more emphasis on guys like Trayshawn Brown, Kevin Riley, and then E.J. Crowell, and talking with Chris Stewart. In case you missed that with Chris Stewart, voice of the Tide, go back and find it, courtesy of Craneworks, JocksFM.com, and the Three Man Front podcast, because I posed a question, and he entered an interesting theory, and he'll get confirmation when he talks to Coach Kalen DeBoer next week, about E.J. Crowell and maybe why we haven't heard from him, potentially.
Yeah.
A whole lot this fall.
You know, there are theories out there, and I know we talked about it the other day about Crowell, and you heard Aaron Taylor mention it. Like when he says, this dude, like when he sees this dude, he's got it. And I mean, you saw him, you broadcast his games, you saw it immediately. You just know when someone has it. And maybe the Alabama coaches, not they're trying to give him preferential treatment, but maybe they know what they've got in him.
You got A.K. Deer's gone, or at least for the foreseeable future. Yeah, at this point, you know how good he can be. You know the other two guys in the room, and you feel really good, and you really, really like them, but you know that this guy could be special. So you just use kid gloves getting there to the start line, and you kind of ease into it.
Mm-hmm. But based on what Chris has said and other people have told us, they believe that perhaps that he's an individual that might not need a lot of time to do whatever he needs to do to get ready.
And maybe we saw Aaron Taylor he saw EJ Crowell go out there and look like Walter Payton, and he posts that video, and the coaches go, you know what? Kalen looks at Ryan Grubb and goes, you know what? I think we've seen enough. Think we're good? Yeah, we're good. That's what you hope if you're Conrad.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, I mean, I'm sure it's not like he's trying to take off. I mean, the coaches are obviously trying to dictate his workload, whatever the case may be. But if he's in the running back room, and he's looking at film, he's doing everything that he needs to do. He's training off the field. I know endurance is going to come a major play into this, especially the first part of the season when it's so hot outside and you get in these games. But one thing's for sure, Bama needs him, and they can get him on the field sooner the better. That will work out well for Alabama fans.
Well, rain will be returning to the forecast. Hopefully, it's going to return maybe tomorrow. Different parts of the state where this hot weather, it's going to remain. But when the weather comes back, the rain, you want to make sure your home, your biggest investment, is protected. That's why we use our friends at Noto Roofing. Noto Roofing, locally owned and operated by the owners Sammy and Matt Noto. These are guys that you can trust. I grew up here in Metro Birmingham with them, and I can tell you they're going to take care of you. It's not only the Notos, but also their entire team. That includes Chris, their general field superintendent. Right now, all Jocks listeners, they're offering the free inspection. All you have to do is call 205-848-2299 or go to Noto. That's Noto roofing.com. Set up the appointment, and Chris will come out to your home. He's going to be very open and honest about what he finds. If they don't find anything, and they told several of our Jocks listeners they didn't, I'm going to tell you you're good to go. Have that peace of mind. But they replaced the house or the roof on our house. We're absolutely happy. You'll be happy as well. Noto Roofing, Noto roofing.com or 205-848-2299.
Big story locally yesterday. UAB announced Tuesday afternoon that the university has parted ways with athletic director Mark Ingram. UAB basketball coach Andy Kennedy will serve as the interim athletics director during a national search for Ingram's replacement. The move was announced as a mutual agreement between Ingram and UAB. Kennedy is entering his 7th season as the UAB head basketball coach. He's come back to his alma mater. He was brought back, hired by Mark Ingram, and Andy Kennedy's done an outstanding job on the court. 6 seasons. They've won at least 20 games every single year, 2 trips to the NCAA tournament in 2022. 2024. Now, Ingram's tenure was controversial, particularly when it came to football. He frequently clashed with UAB's winningest coach, Bill Clark. He failed to retain Bryant Vincent after Bryant Vincent led the Blazers to a bowl game, and then he took a major gamble of hiring Trent Dilfer. That was a colossal disaster. The gamble quickly deflated because in the 3rd season, mid-season, with a 9-23 record, Ingram had to fire Trent Dilfer. In addition, the UAB softball program endured scandal this past spring. Coach Taylor Smart was forced out after being accused by players of widespread wrongdoing and personal impropriety. So Ingram out the door. Who UAB gets from here, it'll be interesting to see if AK wants the job full-time. I mentioned it in hour number 1. You're talking about an individual, talking about AK. He's got equity in the program. He's got sweat, blood, tears. His wife went to UAB. He was very close with Gene Bartow and Murray Bartow. Nothing screams UAB more than Andy Kennedy. So we'll see what happens there long term.
We turn to amen to all of that. Your phone call. Stan, what's up?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Stan, what's happening?
Sorry I missed y'all yesterday.
That's okay. I understand.
Yeah. Now let's get back to wins and losses for Auburn and Alabama.
Okay.
All right. I think I'm for Auburn. I got 2 of them.
2 losses.
Two predictions. Either 9-3 or 8-4.
Okay. Are you leaning one way or another on either of those?
I'm leaning more towards
This is the one that got Don.
Yeah, that was a tough
I
question.
know, realistically, 8-4.
All right, we're going 8-4.
So basically, you're saying the ceiling is 9-3.
You're wishing 9-3, but you feel good about 8-4.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I think Conrad is worried about his laundry detergent team.
Okay.
I could tell it in his voice, because I mean they hadn't had a running game in 2 years, and I don't think they're still. And I think there's a red flag going up with Crowell. There's just some. They're not telling the whole story about him, and I think it's drawing, in my opinion, it's drawing a red flag.
All right. So what's your prediction with Alabama then? So you said Auburn could go 9-3 or 8-4. Where's Bama?
Bama, I'll say I'll go both ways on them, 9-3 or 8-4. It depends on their running game.
So not 6-6.
Okay, I had heard 6-6.
Yeah, somebody said a rumor that Stan said it was 6-6.
I did earlier, but I'll give.
What happened?
Since I said Conrad's laundry detergent team, I'll back that up and say that I did say they'll be lucky to go 6-6. That was about 2 months ago, and I heard my friend Don said that was Stan who said that. You know,
you must have heard some good things out of our fall camp then, Stan.
Yeah, Stan, what are you
You're
hearing?
making me feel good. I mean, we might go 12-0 then.
No. Caleb DeBoer, he runs that West Coast offense. You know that. 19-8. That's not Alabama standard.
Hey, you know who ran the West Coast offense that was pretty good?
Mike Price.
Al Borges. Al Borges for your Auburn Tigers ran the West Coast offense. You don't remember Brandon Cox running that offense?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
What are you talking about? Brandon brought that down from Hewitt Trustful.
Jason Campbell ran that offense too.
And I want you to have good luck in Lee County Friday.
I appreciate that. Looking forward to it.
I know you are. What is Trustful ranked in the rankings in 6A?
That would be not in the top 10.
Oh, really?
That's correct.
What about Auburn High School?
Number 3. They're number 3 in the state in the preseason.
Oh, Lordy. Well, Lordy, y'all might get murdered.
Well, thanks, Stan.
Thanks, Stan.
I appreciate that
grief.
very much. Thank you for the positive phone call, Stan.
I'm just playing with you, Pat.
I know that.
I'm just playing with you.
Oh, Miss Parr's not listening.
Well, you know what's going to happen, Coach Floyd is going to clip this, what you just said about us getting murdered down at Auburn. And so that probably will be played in the locker room or on the bus.
They're going to have a likeness of you on the run-through banner.
Yes.
They're going to run through your face.
Stan says Hewitt Trussell's not man enough to beat Auburn. Kind of like Pat Dye did.
Be sure to tell Parbley what I said Friday when y'all talk to him.
We'll do it. Thank you, Stan.
Thank you, Stan.
Appreciate it. Yeah, our prep preview, where we will talk high school football in those matchups with Kyle every single Friday here on the show.
All right, some more quotes from Alex Golish from Scrimmage. He says that linebacker DeMarcus Riddick has made really good progress after missing time and looks ready to play, so that's great news. Golish says cornerback Andre Jordan Jr. has been one of the most consistent players on Auburn's defense in fall camp. He says the Auburn's pass rush has been very strong recently. Deshaun Womack and Jared Smith had big scrimmages today, he said, and played well through fatigue, which Golish says is huge for that group. And so that gets you kind of updated as I keep scrolling and seeing more quotes from Golish.
You get Womack and you get Jared Smith. And Jared Smith, I mean, signs are pointing to, potentially one of those guys who could have one of those breakout years in the SEC and be one of those household names nationally going into next season.
Golish says, we have talent. The reason why teams win is because they're focused. The ability to focus in college football is the name of the game. Can you get a group of young men to worry about the team, their process, and everything that goes into preparing for a game? I'm proud of how we've grown as a team. We've gone through some adverse situations, but we haven't played a game yet.
See, coming from him, that doesn't sound like coach speak.
No, it doesn't. He doesn't sound like a televangelist like Hugh Freeze did.
Not just saying we're close or Yeah, and Kumbaya.
So the 13th day, because today, what was today practice wise? Let me look. So they're about to depart, right? Maybe after today, maybe they're back on campus, or are they back on campus for when school
classes-
started?
I assume
Classes
because class
start,
started
yeah.
On
this
Monday?
week, so they're probably back
Yeah.
already.
Okay. Yeah, this was today was practice 13, and they were there for 13 days. So they were there obviously a few days before camp officially started, right? So
Yeah.
that would
They had an off day or two mixed in there as well that they were
yeah. So
vacationing.
yeah.
Was that them in the pool?
Maybe so.
I didn't see a lifeguard. Saw a diving board too.
Okay, so
Dangerous.
Survival of the fittest, Landrum.
let's recap Stan's call if you just tuned in. Auburn may go 9-3, more than likely 8-4.
He feels good about 8-4, yeah.
He improved Alabama because he's heard really good things in fall camp.
Alabama trending up.
6-6.
Yes, they were going to be lucky to go 6-6.
But now they're maybe 9-3.
Comfortably 9-3.
Ceiling.
8-4, worst case.
Yeah.
And Hewitt Trustful shouldn't even get on the bus and go to Auburn.
No.
Well, y'all gonna
murdered
get
is what he
murdered.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah, murdered.
Murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah. First degree. It's gonna be bad.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't even make the trip, based on Stan.
Can I just do the show or do the game remotely?
You might have just call Coach Floyd now.
Just take the forfeit.
Coach, call the team in. Let's not do this.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Trey Wallace from Outkick, his weekly guest hit with us. Will be in about 13 minutes. We'll talk the national college football scene. That's all straight ahead on this Wednesday edition of Three Man Front.
Ah. Scott of Miami.
We continue to monitor what Alex Golish is saying. Scrimmage number 2 is in the books. It appears that Tia got some work today with the first team offense. Also, Bryson Washington with the first team. He's really had a good camp. He's the transfer from Baylor who's had a lot of opportunities. You continue to hear Omar Mapson's name as well.
Yeah, a lot like Alabama, the exception of A.K. Deer going out with the injury. Auburn, if there's a position group and a room that you feel really good about, I would think it's that one with Jeremiah Cobb leading the way. And you got a starter from Baylor joining it, and then what Mabson's been able to do, Alvin Henderson. They got a lot of talent there.
He said that Jeremiah Cobb barely went today, so I guess he's banged up.
Or we know what you can do.
True. He said we really pushed Omar and Bryson with that first group. Bryson in the past week has shown why he's been able to do what he's done the past couple of years.
Well, that's big for him because, I mean, early in fall camp, remember, he was 4th string.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so he's working his way up there. That's good.
Also, Henderson was working with the 2s in the running back position.
I wonder if that's where Alex Golish, you got somebody coming in, and I know it wasn't necessarily the case with your quarterback, but every position is up for grabs.
I think Washington was maybe a little banged up early.
It was a little bit.
Fall camp. I don't know what it was,
but he was running consistently 4th team.
Yeah.
Golish says that Champ Anthony and Anquan Fagans will compete at nickel over the next few days.
Okay.
I guess to finalize.
That's good. You got experience there battling for one spot.
Mm-hmm. He says Auburn is still looking for guys who can push through on the defensive line and show that they can keep up with the tempo they'll face against a lot of SEC offenses. One thing's for sure, that if you play on Auburn's defense and how fast and quick Alex Golish's offense go, you should be in pretty good shape in regards to when you go into the SEC, because I don't think anybody outside of maybe Tennessee is going to go as fast.
No, it's breakneck
as you're going to try to have Auburn go. So
no, you're exactly right. And as we've seen with DJ Durkin, they like to have that heavy rotation, especially up front on the defensive line. Looks like they got plenty of cats to do it. When you got a guy like Jordan Crawford, who is such a strong individual, and he's gotten better, but when he's running 3rd team at defensive tackle, it tells you you've got some pretty good depth. Tells me that.
Golish also says that Chris Murray has been phenomenal over the past week. Really strong words for Auburn's pass rush today.
Yeah. So. And that's another guy who is going to be backing up. I'm trying to remember. Would that be Sigler that he's backing up there on the defensive line? But you had J.J. Falk. It was J.J. Falk that was running 3rd team, right? Behind Jared Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And this cat, Chris Murray.
Golish also mentions Jacob Strand as a standout during camp. When talking about the starting 5, Golish said he has shown some position flexibility there where I think he's going to find his way in there.
Yeah, offensive line, I guess it's coming along. Because there hasn't been, I haven't heard it, whether it be from Golish or from folks that I've talked to, where offensive line has been noted as a concern. I guess they feel good. The consensus is they feel good about the direction that they're going. I'm looking at some of the preliminary. This isn't an official depth chart, but a guy like Derek Plows, the transfer from Miami, running 1st team at left guard. You got Stanton Ramil, offensive tackle transfer from Michigan State, who was banged up. Thompson product. He's running 1st team left tackle. You got Joe Simmons, the right tackle, the transfer from James Madison, Cole Skinner, Cole Best, 2 South Florida guys. And then you've got experience behind them and guys that were starters at other places, including a guy that you just mentioned, and Jacob Strand. So maybe deeper on the offensive line than they have been in the last couple of years.
Now, some individual details are coming out about the scrimmage. We already mentioned that Bryson Washington getting a ton of work on the 1st team offense, had some really tough runs. Very little from Jeremiah Cobb. Auburn's receivers, they continue to step up with Keyshawn Singleton having another 40-plus yard reception for the 1st team. Chaz Nimrod had a big touchdown catch on an out route from Byron Brown. Corey Pettigrew also had a touchdown catch from Tristan Tia. So that's where Tia was working with the first team. Big play of the day, we mentioned it earlier, came from Dallas Walker. He picked off a middle screen and likely would have scored a touchdown, but they blew the play dead. So Walker continues to have a really good camp. Cody Sigler was held out of today's scrimmage. He looks to be moving around fine. Should be ready to go for Baylor. Gavin Jenkins had an interception, the second straight scrimmage for which he has picked off Tia. So,
Yeah, and Gavin Jenkins, he's a transfer, right?
mm-hmm.
If I remember, he came from South Florida.
So there's some individual details from today's second scrimmage for the Auburn Tigers. Tomorrow, the Alabama Crimson Tide will already have their second scrimmage in the books, and Kalen DeBoer will have already met with the media this time tomorrow. If you got a dangerous tree leaning over your house or maybe branches blocking your view, you need to call Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4443. Golston's licensed pros. They will handle everything from trimming and pruning to full tree removals, fast, safe, and affordable. Don't wait until that next storm causes massive damage and a lot of problems around your house. Call Golston Tree Service, who also offers the 24-hour emergency tree service, 205-337-4443.
Trey Wallace, our college football insider, the news, the nuggets, the stuff that he gets, you only hear it right here. Trey joins us next on Three Man Front.
It is 12:32 moments away. Talking to Trey Wallace, outstanding college football writer for Outkick. You can also see his work at foxnews.com. He'll be on the program. He'll be a weekly guest, a contributor to Three Man Front, as he has just moved to Nashville. I was talking to him over the weekend. He was making the move to Music City, USA.
Is he chasing the dream, strumming the guitar at night?
I hope so.
Oh, he would be such a good country music singer.
Yes.
I think better than Pat McAfee.
Oh my goodness, we need to ask him about that. At least now, with Trey being in Nashville, you and I can stay with Trey at SEC Media Days coming up next year.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah. So let's talk to Trey and what kind of abode he has.
What kind of
for
amenities
media.
are we looking at, Trey, at the new place?
Yeah, since we're going to be staying with you in Nashville.
I don't know. It's been 4 days since I've been here, and they finally just got the AC unit working. So that's been. I thought I was back in Mobile inside my own condo, which was fun. I'm sleeping with sweat towels. So I mean,
It's the worst. It's the worst.
I'm taking water breaks at 2 a.m. in the morning just to keep my weight up. So
You got the IV in your arm as you go to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So there was no need to go to hot yoga this morning, so I was good for that. And then,
Have you seen Morgan Wallen yet?
no, not Morgan Wallen yet. I've seen some characters so far here in Nashville. But it's good to be back in Nashville. I lived here for 7 years prior, and yeah, we'll see. Got a fun story coming out tomorrow. Speaking of Nashville, on how Jared Curtis actually recruited Vanderbilt, not the other way around.
Oh,
so
wow. That'll be good. I'll read that.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So we're here, and the season is upon us, guys, and I have a feeling we're not even going to be talking about Congress today, which is great.
Yeah, I was going to tell you congratulations. I'm not going to ask you about the Protect College Sports Act. I'm not even going to ask you about 5 years of eligibility. I'm not going to ask you any of that. We're actually going to talk about the preseason top 25. I know the AP and the coaches poll has absolutely nothing to do with the college football playoff, but for shows like us, it gives us a little bit of meat on the bone in which we can kind of dive a little bit deeper into the actual football season. So I'm just going to ask you a 30,000-foot view of the preseason AP top 25 poll that came out. Was there one particular team that you saw it and you just went, huh? I don't get that.
Yeah.
Whether they're too high or too low, or a team in the top 25 that Trey Wallace says that's just BS. They should not be there.
I mean, I think I could start at the bottom essentially with Missouri. I think South Carolina deserved to be in over Missouri. And I could have made that argument for Florida as well. They're relying a lot on Austin Simmons. I get that. We have to see what he can do. And I think that you can continue going up the list. Like, do I think Tennessee deserved to be 20? I mean, probably, because you're going off a running game, you're going off a defense that you're expecting something from Jim Knowles. They got an offensive line, they have the wide receivers. They got to figure out what their quarterback situation is going to look like, which I think is Faison Brandon by the Georgia Tech weekend. Just my personal opinion. But when you kind of glance up and you look at it, I honestly thought Ole Miss should be ranked a little bit higher than 9. I would have put them in front of Miami. I think that's fine if they'd have been situated behind Indiana. I get that, and I respect that. But just for outliers, I think Penn State is one where I'm like, okay, I know they brought a bunch of players with them from Iowa State, and I know they did pretty decent in the transfer portal under Matt Campbell. But at the same time, they're going to be relying a lot on Rocco back this year. Can he be that guy in the Big Ten? Now, luckily for them, Penn State's schedule is not all too difficult, but at the same time, I just wonder, okay, well, what does the first year look like for Matt Campbell? And to me, obviously that sets up the future when it comes to NIL. It sets up the future when it comes to fundraising, and also just how they're going to get things off the ground. So Penn State is another one. And then I look at, like, Iowa's always just hanging around, guys. Like, in some form or fashion, whether it's an 8-4 season, 9-3, 7-5, it doesn't matter. It's like Iowa is just always kind of hanging around. And I ask myself, it's like, what have they done to get to this spot at 22? Like, and so, there's a couple of questions here. I mean, even look, Clemson being on the outside, I know what everybody kind of feels about that game. I think I do. That Saturday night in Death Valley in Baton Rouge and not Clemson. But man, if Clemson were to go into Baton Rouge and win that football game, you talk about sending some shockwaves around college football and especially around the LSU campus. That would create some madness. So there's a number of them that I could have put in there. I do think that folks are. I'll go back to my first point about it all. I think folks are overlooking the talent at South Carolina based off last year. But then you have to also realize with the AP poll, and I mean this is no shot to my colleagues, but there are voters in this that hell, I don't even have a clue about some. There's still quarterback competitions going on. That we've got to figure out the D line depth for some of these schools. We don't know about a lot of these, and I think that it's a guessing game, and you're basing a lot of it off the past, and that's why I think South Carolina is probably down there receiving 10 votes. And it's like I have to ask this: okay, do these folks know what they have at wide receiver, at quarterback, running back, on the defensive side? Like they're better than that spot.
You hear from a lot of folks, and when we hear from coaches generally at this point, I don't remember a coach ever coming out and saying we are going to be terrible. I don't know why we're doing this year. But you hear things from camps. From the folks that you've talked to, is there any buzz coming out of one particular camp, and you don't have to say the camp, where there are genuine concerns now that we're several days into it, where, you know what, as optimistic as we're trying to be, we got some major, major problems?
Yeah, I would say that there's two schools in the SEC in particular that stand out to me where you're trying to put on a show, trying to make everything look good, but at the same time, you don't know how deep you are. And I think that's going to be a big question for me. I think that, like, everybody made a big deal out of Alabama being ranked where they were, 13th in the poll. And to me, it's like, okay, well, that kind of fits. And then you have the Alabama fans who rightfully, like, I understand it. Like, it's not lost to me. They're like, wait a minute. Man, where are we at as a program that we're ranked 13th in the country? Well, in the reality of it, you're ranked where you should be ranked, in my opinion. I'd have put you at 15th. But I think that, there's optimism around the quarterback position. I think they're really good at the running back spot. Like, Kalen DeBoer is good for this program. I think that, will the results match the talent? To me, that's the biggest sticking point. And I'm not saying it's been, doom or gloom coming out of certain conversations that I've had with folks. I'm just saying, like, here we go with Kalen DeBoer in this year, because it's very, very pivotal. I think that the one school that kind of stands out to me a little bit, maybe more than others, when you take a look at where they are from a depth standpoint, Ole Miss is another. Like, I think they're going to be really good on offense. And I think Pete Golding is going to have that defense ready to go. I just question how deep they are. When we get into the first week of November, obviously these teams are beat up, but it's hard to stack talent nowadays. And to me, you're seeing that at schools across the country. Like, it's just hard to stack the talent because, other schools are going to offer so much more money. You're not going to be able to keep the 5-star freshman just sitting on the bench and waiting for an opportunity for a year or two. So I look at it overall, like, yeah, everybody's going to try to sell this thing. Everybody's going to try to sell their program, that they've turned the corner, this can be better. And but I found it interesting that Lane Kiffin was a little agitated that a video of Sam Levitt got out last week of him running around in practice. Like, are you that worried because you just don't want defenses to see his mobility? Or are you worried for other reasons? Lane Kiffin has talked a lot about how they're trying to build the program at LSU, and he understands the success. He's not running from it. He understands what's on the line. He's not running from it. But again, I just have to wonder, if they throw up an 8-4 season or 9-3 season, like, what is the reaction from folks in Baton Rouge? Can they be calm and understand that they're trying to build something, but also at the same time know that they spent upwards of $50 million for a roster? Because in this era, guys, we're past the point of patience. You don't get patience from fans when you're spending that much money to bring in talent. So there's a lot of questions around the country in college athletics. I think in the SEC, those kind of stand out to me the most. And then I'll give you an off-the-wall one, USC. Like, I've spoken with some folks in California, in that Southern Cal area, and I'm just telling you, like, they are nervous because they know that, man, if Lincoln Riley is not in the playoff conversation, if USC is not in the playoff conversation the first week of November, does USC then have to think about what their future looks like? And can Lincoln Riley be that guy? So, I mean, other than those, hell, I could have told you Bill Belichick and everything's going on there, because if they go to Ireland and get drubbed, I'm just telling you, North Carolina officials will look at that and say, okay, we only owe you $20 million for you to go away, and we can go out and hire ourselves a real college football head coach. I'm just telling you guys, that's something to keep an eye on if they come out of the gates and look absolutely terrible like they did last year.
Trey Wallace joining us from Outkick, his weekly hit with us all season long here on Three Man Front. I want to ask you about a sleeper in the SEC. Just, it can be anybody, just in your opinion. Is there one particular team that maybe we're not paying that close of attention to, and then maybe we get to November, and if certain things happen just right, they could be a CFP type team? Is there a team out there for you, Trey, as we get ready for the season?
I hate to go back to where I kind of started this whole conversation from today, but it's South Carolina for me.
Okay.
I mean, it really is. Like, South Carolina feels like that squad that can come out and surprise folks compared to where they were in the rankings. I think that, you have a stable offensive line for Lenore Sellers. Shane Beamer's back is against the wall. He knows it. He's not running from it. And at the same time, I think that they're going to be really good on defense. Now, look, there are 8 teams that I can say, hey, they're going to probably be really good on defense in the SEC. Like, what is really good? Like, everybody's about to eat themselves up, with this 9-game conference schedule. What I am saying is that I think South Carolina can be that team that, because in my opinion, their ceiling was like 10-2. The floor, 7-5. I know that's a big old range here, but it's just the way the SEC schedule is kind of set up right now. I mean, there might be a couple of close games that go in the other direction, and you're sitting here wondering, okay, well, what happened? So I think that, they're going to be probably 1. I would say 2, and I'm not trying to put them in the conversation for the CFP, but I will say something about Tennessee. If they get the quarterback situation figured out, and I think Tennessee fans should trust Heupel into getting the quarterback. I mean, he had a guy last year, boys, that was on campus for essentially 3.5 months that came in and did pretty darn good things on offense with a group that was hurting at times. If Faison, Brandon, or George, whatever, I'll keep saying George McIntyre too in this quarterback battle, because there really is a quarterback battle. I just think Faison will be the starter, by 3rd, 4th week of the season, and that's who they roll with. Tennessee could be dangerous, and I'm not trying to get Tennessee fans' hopes with that up, but what I am saying is, even though the schedule is tough, there could be an opportunity where if one of these quarterbacks starts to shine, guys, they've got one of the best running games in the country, in my opinion. You've got an offensive line led by David Sanders Jr., who is the second coming of Trey Smith along that offensive line. You've got a defense where I know it's going to take Jim Knowles some time to fully install that defense. And I know that they lost their starting safety last week, but at the same time, there is an opportunity for Tennessee, I think, to shock some folks. They're going to have an early test. Like that Georgia Tech game in Atlanta, that's going to be a test. It's going to be tough. But then I look ahead to 2 weeks later when Arch Manning and Texas come to town. So we're going to find out a lot about Tennessee within the first 4 weeks of the year. You drop a game to Georgia Tech, you're in trouble. You come back home, and have to play Kennesaw State, and then you get Steve Sarkisian then coming to town. So it could go 2 different ways. Tennessee could be 4-0, or they could potentially be 2-2 in the month of September, which will change things. But I would just keep an eye on those 2, because I could have gone with a couple obvious ones.
Speaking of Tennessee, Trey, a guy that coached there, was the OC there, had success. Alex Golesh at Auburn. What are you seeing from the Tigers?
man, I I want to buy in to this because I really like what they've done on the offensive side of the ball, and I like the fact that Alex Golesh is not afraid to delegate things. Alex Golesh is not a defensive whiz, okay? And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just being realistic. Like, he's an offensive guy, but he has to trust that they know what they're doing on that side of the ball. Don't try to get in their way. You know, let the DC do his job. And then on the offensive side, it's like, let's put this thing together. Like, I'm not trying to overhype Auburn. What I am saying is that they got themselves a quarterback right now in Bynum that can go out there and be one of the top playmakers in the conference. And I'm not saying he's going to go out and throw for 4,000 yards or anything along those lines, but he's such a dual threat. And to me, success for Auburn, and Auburn fans are not going to like this, and that's okay. But success for me for Auburn is an 8-4 season, 9-3 season, and you're in most of these games heading into late in the fourth quarter, and you might let 2 or 3 slip away. Like, and you might get beat up by a team. That's fine. But I think Alex Golesh has learned from some very good coaches that he's worked under. I've seen success and what that looks like at USF. And while at the same time, there are going to be a lot of Auburn fans comparing what's going on in Auburn to comparing what's going on in Gainesville because of John Summerall, I think it's good to know that it's 2 separate guys, man, 2 separate mentalities. I think Golesh can find success at Auburn. I don't think this is Hugh Freeze 2.0. And I know folks like to point out, well, we went the offensive route, and we went with a guy from a smaller school and giving him a shot at the big times. I just feel like he can find success in Auburn. I just hope that the expectations are not, hey, let's go make the CFP this year. No, start building this program back up because, man, it's been kind of in the dumpster as of late.
Hey, there's only 2 sides of the ball for those who didn't want an offensive guy, right? You can only get an offensive or a defensive guy. How about just get a guy that gets it? And I think he does.
And he knows it. Like, I was having this conversation with an Auburn booster recently, and they were like, man, going to come out and have that 2022 Tennessee offense. And I'm like, whoa, bud, slow down a little bit. Like, that was different. You're not going to catch people off guard, but here's the good thing about it. Alex Golesh knows how to kind of work things on the fly. And I think that's why they got themselves a good coach. And the best coaches out there know how to delegate things. And I say that really, remember when Ryan Day brought in Chip Kelly?
Yeah.
He didn't intervene in his offense. He let Chip Kelly run the offense, and he was the head coach. I think if Golesh continues to do what he does, and let's see what the results look like. I do think that there's an opportunity in the future for Auburn to continue finding success built off what 2026 can bring.
That is Trey Wallace. Outstanding way to kick off the college football season. He will join us each and every week here on 3-Man Front on the Jocks Network across the great state of Alabama. Trey, man, stay cool up there, and we look forward to catching up with you again
What
next
a way
Wednesday.
to kick it off, Trey.
Yeah, way to go.
I'm trying my hardest here, boys. I mean, we're getting things rolling. College football is a week and a half away, essentially, with week 0. And I guess we'll get to see Jordan Hudson on the sidelines in Dublin. So, we're here. Let's get it rolling, boys.
That sounds good, Trey. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Trey Wallace joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
What an exciting 12 o'clock hour, huh? Trey Wallace, our college football insider. Lots of nuggets, anonymous camp reports. You're smart people out there. You can put 2 and 2 together. Just reports he's hearing from certain camps where maybe there's 1 or 2 red flags popping up. Red not meaning anything, Conrad. There's nothing to do with your team color. It could be purple and gold. It could be a burnt orange, navy blue flag that is raised during camp, not just a red flag. Lots of your text, lots of your response on the text line. We'll get to those and more reports coming out of Auburn's second scrimmage.